What's going on, guys? I'm back with another animated review. And I just finished watching a movie called Deathstroke, Knights and Dragons. Main characters being, of course, Deathstroke, his wife, Adeline, and his son, Joseph Wilson. First of all, as we all know, Marvel and DC have been at it for years, and they got a lot of characters that kind of mimic each other. So there's no difference with this one because Deathstroke came first, but then Marvel came right behind them and got Deadpool. They both got the same similar powers. They're both assassins. Both got similar-ish outfits. But just to let you know, Deathstroke came first. So when we all know everything about Deadpool, but what do we know about Deathstroke? Those who are hardcore DC fans. What do we know? And so with this movie, I found out a lot about Deathstroke. That's all I want to say about that. Let's get into that review. All right. So for people who do not know about this movie, Deathstroke, Knights and Dragons is pretty much about. It starts off with the early years of Deathstroke's marriage, where he was keeping the fact that he was an assassin from his wife for quite a while, until one day a guy called the Jackal broke into his house, beat up his wife, and kidnapped his son, all because he wanted Deathstroke to join his team called the Hive. That's a lot. That's a lot just for that. So she, of course, finds out now that he's been an assassin for this whole time, right? So he's got to go in there. He's got to save his son. He does, but he does it in kind of a reckless way, which leaves his son traumatized, and the whole family is just traumatized from this whole situation. And so 10 years later, the son gets abducted again. But this time, it's by the predecessor of the Jackal, who's trying to keep the Hive going. And with all this going down, it reveals that the son has a hidden power of his own. And if you didn't know, the Deathstroke's powers were the healing factor. Of course, Deadpool mimicked him. So just keep that in mind. But the son has his own hidden powers. And that's where the interesting stuff goes down. All right. So with that, let's get to those positives, man. For positives, man, this movie is hella violent. Hella violent. Bloody all through. Bloody all through. Action. Straight up action. I loved it. I loved it. This movie is so, I wouldn't say realistic, because it's a fantasy, but so dramatic. I kept forgetting that this was an animated movie. It was so realistic in a way, like a actual live action movie. It felt like a live action movie, but it's not live action. This is an animated movie. It felt like this could have been played out as a live action movie. Real actors, everything. Just all in the mix. Just throw it all in the mix. You could do this as a live movie and it still would come out the same. Mostly. Mostly. It felt like that. It was just good on that aspect. You know what I'm saying? It kept me pulled in. It was just a lot of twists and turns. You got the twists. I cannot mention within this movie. It was just a good packaged deal going with that. Definitely not for kids. So this is a warning right now. Definitely not for kids. You should know by now. A lot of these DC movies, animated movies, are really for teens and up, mainly adults. It played its cards well with that, because I enjoyed a lot of aspects of this. Now, as far before I get to the negatives, another positive that I liked, the villain, Jackal, he was so calculating and cold-hearted with it, and that's how villains really should be. This is one part he was just so cold with, and I can't reveal it because that would be another reveal. But the way he handled it, you would never. Oh man, you would never. Oh, the way he handles his business, cold-blooded game out here with his assassins. All right, let's get to this negatives, man. Now my negatives is this. We know from the beginning of the movie that you know that, Deathstroke, no disrespect, made a lot of mistakes. And you'll see that in the movie. There's some already explained, him, the way he rescued his son was, it shouldn't have went about it that way. But that's just one mistake. That's just one mistake. I can't even get into the other mistakes he's made with his marriage. But then what irritated me was they kept bringing, especially his wife. She kept bringing up the situation all through the whole movie, over and over. It's all they talked about. They argued about this through the whole movie, even though it played into the movie very well. But still, they kept bringing this up a lot. It was a little irritating. I have to say that was a little irritating. All right. Another kind of a oopsie about this movie was things happened, of course, especially with the son situation, where them as parents, we could tell that they're both. With the mother, she's from military, and that's where Deathstroke started off, from military, right? So they're very used to battle and fighting and death, but still, the way they handled the son situation, it just wasn't. They didn't seem emotional enough. They lacked emotion, and I know this is animated characters, but you still should feel the emotion within the voice actors. And I was like, damn, that's how this is not like a bowl of cereal that got spilled on the ground. This is your kid going through some things, man. Why are you, where's the emotion? Where's the tears? The outlash for what's happening here. Okay, what's going on here? Your son just went through this. And that was a little, it's noticeable. It's highly noticeable. All right. But those are really just my two negatives on that. Just the fact, it's just, there's some things that should have been kind of downplayed a little bit. But, man, overall, honestly, the action still took over. Bloody from the start, like I said. Man, people getting sliced up. Crazy. I'm thinking it's actually some real live action movie right here. Got me hyped. The character storylines are pretty good. Actually pretty good. They're great. I'm giving it that hell yeah. I'm giving it that hell yeah. And that villain, the villain was on point. Giving it a hell yes. All right. DC did it again. DC did it again. I couldn't get any lower than a hell yeah on these yet. I don't think I've done one yet that's lower than a hell yeah on DC. You know what it is. Like, share, subscribe, and I'm out.